You know, for thousands of years, they've just stood there in the desert. These silent monuments from an ancient world, and they've been baffling historians and engineers ever since. Today, we have all this incredible modern technology, right? Advanced tools, supercomputers, but the big question is still out there. How on earth were the Great Pyramids actually built? So today, we're going to dive into the absolutely ingenious solutions that made the impossible, well, possible.
But let's kick things off with a modern mystery, because to try and solve the riddles of the past, researchers sent this little robotic camera deep inside a sealed shaft in the Great Pyramid. And what it found, hiding behind a stone door for 4,500 years, just makes the whole thing even more of an enigma. Stick with me, we will circle back to that.
First things first, before we can even begin to understand the solutions, we have to get a handle on the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the problem they were facing. This wasn't just another building project. This was something that, for its time, bordered on impossible.
All right, let's just try to wrap our heads around these numbers for a second. We're not just talking about a tall building. At almost 500 feet, it was the tallest man-made structure on the planet for thousands of years. And it's built from over 2 million individual stone blocks. Its base is so massive, it could swallow 9 whole football fields. All of that adds up to, get this, a staggering 6 million tons. To put that weight into perspective, let's look at a modern marvel, the Burj Khalifa, right? The tallest building in the world right now. It weighs about 500,000 tons. That means the Great Pyramid is 12 times heavier. That's just an almost unimaginable amount of mass. And remember, it was built without a single piece of modern equipment.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How did an ancient civilization, with no steel, no cranes, none of the machinery we take for granted, pull off something that would seriously challenge even us today? That is the central puzzle we're digging into.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts from the ground up. Before a single one of those millions of blocks could be put into place, the builders had to solve 2 huge challenges just to get the site ready.
Okay, problem number 1, alignment. The sides of the Great Pyramid face almost perfectly true north, south, east, and west. I mean, with incredible accuracy. So how could they possibly do that without a compass or any of our fancy modern surveying gear?
And their solution was just genius. Beautifully simple. They looked up at the sky, they knew that the North Star, Polaris, pretty much stays put all night long. So by using it as a fixed reference point, they could create a perfect baseline to work from. No compass, no GPS, just brilliant observation of the stars.
And the result of all that careful planning and precision? Every single side of the pyramid slopes up at an exact, unwavering angle of 51.5 degrees. It's just a testament to how meticulous they were from the very beginning.
Okay, so you've got your alignment. Now for the next headache. You have to make a 13-acre patch of solid bedrock perfectly, and I mean perfectly, flat. Any tiny error in the level at the bottom would become a disastrous problem as the pyramid got taller. So how'd they do it without lasers?
The solution they came up with was once again just beautifully simple. They basically turned the whole construction site into a giant water level. They dug a grid of trenches all over the site, filled them up with water, and then marked the water line. You know, water always finds its own level. So all they had to do was chip away every bit of rock that was above that line. It's an incredibly clever way to get a perfectly flat surface over such a huge area. So, the foundation is perfectly set. Now the next epic challenge begins, actually getting the raw materials. And this meant cutting, shaping, and then hauling millions and millions of tons of stone. Just think about this for a second. They had to quarry 2.3 million blocks of limestone. Now the most common metal back then was copper, but pure copper tools are way too soft to cut stone effectively. So what was their secret? How did they do it? Well, the answer was this amazing breakthrough in early metallurgy. They figured out that if you mix copper with a little bit of arsenic, you create a kind of bronze that's way harder than pure copper. These new alloyed chisels were finally strong enough to cut into the limestone. It was this one simple but crucial innovation, plus a whole lot of manpower, that let them carve out the building blocks of an empire. So, you've cut your blocks. Awesome. Now you gotta move them. And some of these stones from a quarry in a place called Tura had to travel 250 kilometers to get to Giza. We're not talking about pebbles here. Some of these weighed up to 50 tons. That's like moving 3 city buses at once. And again, they brilliantly used the environment around them.
The Nile River became their superhighway. They'd load these huge blocks onto massive barges and just float them downriver to the construction site. It was still a monumental job, of course, needing what they called an army of 500 workers just to handle the loading and unloading.
Okay, the foundation is perfect. The stones are on site. Now comes the most dramatic part of the whole process, building up, layer by agonizing layer, reaching for the sky.
This is where the challenge really becomes vertical. You've got 50-ton blocks, and they somehow need to be lifted nearly 500 feet into the air. With no cranes, how is that even conceivable? Well, the leading theory is as simple as it is massive: ramps. Just imagine these enormous ramps made of earth and rubble, snaking their way up the side of the pyramid as it grew. Then you'd have armies of workers chanting and heaving together, dragging these multi-ton blocks up the slope, inch by agonizing inch, with nothing but thick ropes and pure human strength.
But there was one last, truly mind-bending problem. Deep inside the pyramid, for the king's chamber, they didn't use limestone. Nope, they used granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth. Their arsenic copper chisels just wouldn't cut it, literally. So how in the world did they cut this nearly diamond-hard material with such perfect precision?
This solution is a testament to an unbelievable amount of patience. They used a toothless copper saw, but get this, the saw itself wasn't doing the cutting. Instead, workers would pour an abrasive, like sand, into a groove on the granite. Then they just dragged the saw back and forth, over and over again. It was the sand that was slowly grinding its way through the stone. This was an unbelievably slow process. It could take up to 4 months to cut through a single block of granite.
So, from using the stars in the sky to the sand under their feet, the ancient Egyptians came up with these brilliant solutions for what seemed like impossible engineering problems. It just shows this incredible mastery of logistics, of material science, and pure, raw human determination.
And that really gets to the heart of their genius, doesn't it? They didn't have what we'd call advanced technology. What they had was this deep, profound understanding of the world around them and how to use it. They looked at problems that seem impossible to us today and solved them with the simplest tools, turning the very sand, water, and human power they had into a monument that has lasted for eternity. Which of course brings us right back to where we started. That little robot, it drilled through the first stone door, only to find another sealed door waiting right behind it. The mystery just goes on. The pyramids have given up some of their engineering secrets, but what other 4,500-year-old knowledge are they still holding on to? Now that is something to think about.